Hey people, Indrid here, 1v1, Dorillo's Forge, blue side. Mr. Crewfinity is a Techmarine, starts off with a bolt gun, puts out some good damage, can also support with structures and repair, camera freaking out a bit as it does on Dorillo's Forge. Up against on the red side, funnyman2u is a plague champion, starts off with the damage of a time bolt gun, can get melee weapons, some strong utility and support, can also repair. In fact, both of these fellas can get melee weapons and turrets. Maybe we'll see some kind of turret battle. funnyman2u is not getting another unit up, suggesting they are doing a straight into Havocs or Raptors or both. They should get more Heretics up though, to help them defend the power. It's not going to slow them down. The bottleneck will be power income, not the wreck they'd spend on more Heretics. These guys trying to cap the mid. All three VPs are contested. Central is here. Southwest turning blue thanks to scouts. Northeast here, which is going to be picked up by the Plague Champion, it seems. Mr. Crewfinity has more scouts, which is incredibly risky for Funnyman. If Crewfinity cottons on to what they're doing and goes at the power, look, there's 3 gens up. They're going to spot 3 gens. Know that something weird is going on. They haven't seen any CSM. They could get Flamer up and bash the power. There's not a whole lot funnyman2u can do about it. Here come the Havocs. Again, it might have been slowed down a little bit if they got Heretics up. They would have been able to start getting Havocs about a minute or so later, maybe. So, I guess that's the reason they didn't get Heretics. More of them. They wanted the quickest possible Havoc squad on the field. But now their power's getting bashed, and these guys are getting a Flamer. They're going to lose this entire power farm, I think. Because they have scouts on either side. They can run them in to tie up the Havocs once the Heretics commit. And the Heretics are going to need to commit. I don't think they're going to be able to sit there and worship. So the Flamer is being suppressed at least. But the Bolters are still firing, of course. Crewfinity did a great job spreading in units. And as I said, the Heretics are going to have to commit to try and stop this. Going in on the scouts. They're going to lose a bunch of models doing it, because the Techmarine bolt gun really hurts. Down to 2 models and they run away. The scouts did get retreated off though. They are going to lose the entire power still. Here come the other scouts to run in on the Havocs, tie them up in melee. funnyman2u now into Raptors. Where is the Plague Champion? Oh, I thought maybe the Plague Champion would get the Bile Spewer and try to trade power there. But I guess it's only a node anyway. And there's a node on the way there for Crewfinity. So an interesting start. Tax actually got close to maybe dropping a model depending on how that health loss would split. Here are your Raptors then. Jump troops with bolt gun and chainsword. 30 DPS in melee, can suppress when they land using a cacophony type thing. So I guess they're kind of Slaneshi Raptors. Would have been cool to see them get a Warp Talons upgrade. But I guess getting the big demon maul thing is pretty nice for him. Techmarine cannot grab the wreck point. Crewfinity now with Assault Squad on the way to try and jump out these Havocs and hard counter them. Heretics can counter initiate, of course. They do have an aspiring champion. Makes them much better in melee combat because he improves the health of the Heretics. And he's decent in melee himself. Plague Champion can also get some nasty anti-melee stuff. In Tier 1 can get the sword and betted armor and things. So here's the Assault Squad. More hit points than Raptors, but they don't do as much DPS in melee, and they disrupt instead of suppress. Havocs could run for the garrison. They get jumped, maybe the Heretics can come in and suppress with Doom Blast, and then they can run for the garrison maybe. Risky though when there's a bunch of scouts with potential grenades. These guys have shotguns, help deal with melee Heretics and the Raptors. Other fellas also getting shotguns. Any sign of a... Nope. No Mastercrafted Bolter, no Bionics. The Techmarine can also get some nice anti-melee stuff in Tier 1. Plague Champion getting shotgunned up. Leaves the wreck point alone. Does have this northeastern one though. Northeastern contested wreck point was what I'm going to call it. Tax on capping duty. I expected Crewfinity to be more aggressive once those Assault Squad feathers came out, but they are a little bit wary of what funnyman2u is up to with all this power expenditure. They've got more Havocs now, defending the power, getting gens back up. funnyman2u, I'm sure, would love to get on the gens, knowing that they lost theirs earlier. They lost the full gen farm too. That's like 425 rec worth of purchases they lost. All the gens and the node. There's the jump. Havoc's hard countered, need to retreat. Now they can go to the Plague Champion and tie him up, since he's so pathetically useless in melee by default. And they're going to get a full power bash again, perhaps. They are trying to trade power now. funnyman2u with Havoc set up to cover. There's no garrisons really in helpful places here to cover the power, which is probably good map design. On my map, sometimes you see garrisons at least maybe partially covering power, which a lot of players hate. Estia Province says that. I'm not sure if they're actually close enough to fully cover the power, but they're pretty close to it. But it's inherently risky to do that. To take a garrison near your enemy's HQ on a natural power could get those guys whacked. There's plenty of anti-garrison stuff in the game. Assault Squad jump. Didn't drop a Havoc. Oh, they did. As soon as I said that, they did. The Tax popped their Kraken Bolts and hit them in melee. Kraken Bolts does improve their melee damage against heavy infantry for some reason. Havoc's down to a single model now. Heretics got away with 5. Raptors are fine. So, acceptable losses perhaps for funnyman2u. They did bash a gen and a node, I think. Did they get both gens? I think they only got one of the gens. They've spread their gens down here though, Crewfinity, who's probably looking for tier 2 now. Would love to see a Dreadnought here. Dreadnought would really mess with Funnyman. Would tear through the Raptors. Would force anti-vehicle weapons on the Havocs. And with the Assault Squad around, able to jump the Havocs, I think it would easily be like a net win for Crewfinity. Really nice grenade then from Crewfinity on those Raptors. Beautifully done. And they get away without a loss, those scouts. Sneaky, sneaky scout play. There indeed is the tier 2 for Crewfinity. Full gens up here. This one's been bashed and stolen by Funnyman. And they've got 2 gens of their own, well, almost back up. Assault Squad finding Havocs. Just trying to take their wreck point, man. Chill out, fellas. Raptors jumping in. They're actually quite low from that grenade still. Don't think they want to fight all this stuff. Yeah, they're going to pop their Kraken Bolts. 20% more damage versus heavy infantry. Heretics coming in a little bit late. Need to tie up the Tactical Marine, surely. The Tax doing so much damage there. It was kind of evenly spread, though, with the Flamer. And the Raptors actually didn't drop a model. Here comes Scouts. Both of them with shotguns. One of them with a Sergeant. And they are sent packing. And Havoc's doing their thing with that heavy bolter. Plague Champion's mostly been running around capping stuff, incidentally shooting scouts. Couldn't quite grab that wreck point. Are these guys looking for a grenade? No. They were just trying to get some more shotgun hits. There's some more suppression. And there is a melee Techmarine. Axe of the Mechanicum is in. Drains 15 energy on hit. More melee skill, more health, more charge range. Well, gives a charge range, since he wouldn't have it with the bolt gun. And 55 power melee DPS with a plasma pistol. The plasma pistol sucks, because a lot of them do. Not even 8 DPS on it. Down goes the Techmarine. That was very sloppy, actually. Not a little bit sloppy. Very sloppy from Crewfinity. They are better than that. Just ran into a Havocs and got caught by Raptors. But when he's up and swinging that axe, big threat to those Raptors, especially if they get Bionics and the Refractor field up. It's a very nice melee build for the Techmarine. You guys going to cap? Nope, they don't want to cap. You don't want it. Double here for Crewfinity. Raptors up in the northeast using a jump to get up there. Trying to grab that VP, stop the VP rots a bit. Techmarine has been repurchased. Level 2. Up to what? 761 hit points without an armor upgrade. So the thing about the Plague Champion, he does start with a decent chunk of health for a ranged hero at 680. Makes up for his horrible melee and his relative slowness. Helps to make up for it anyway. Techmarine going northeast. Oh, Raptor's got their aspiring champion. He's not messing around. He's got a big old heavy melee demon maul there. With the, I think it's called Demonic Strength. I never remember what that ability is called. It's like a big single target smack. Which is good if you can single out a squad leader or something. Grenade. These guys are quite spread out. Which probably helped them out there. I think it would have been better to focus that grenade on a single model. And try and kill him. Rather than spread the damage like that. Assault squad now have their own sergeant. Who gets a power sword. Not quite as fancy as that big maul. But they can also get a melter bomb, which is amazing. And merciless strike. I think, here it comes, is a better ability than demonic strength. Probably more useful in more situations. Disrupting the entire squad. That was Touch of Nurgle, by the way. Which has been wasted, basically, by Funnyman. You want to use it when you're already in the midst of a battle. When it's harder for your enemy to pull out. They used it as they ran in there, kind of thing. 390 to 241. Razorback on the way for Crewfinity. Raptors could jump on rear armor and smack it, I guess. Look at this awesome weapon. Oh, he's buried it inside the node now. There it is. It looks very painful. Havoc trying to bash power with a heavy bolter. Not working out great. There's the jump. Gets rid of them. They retreated before they landed, though, so didn't get knocked over. Havoc's capping duty. 374 to 241. It's blood letters for funnyman2u. I was going to say, how are they going to react to seeing this Razorback? Well, unless they see it before those blood letters come out, it's going to be blood letters. Techmarine going for bionics, and they already have the Refractor Field. Unique shield that debuffs ranged accuracy against the Techmarine. And it does that instead of granting weapon knockback immunity. So you can knock him over, but it's harder to shoot at him. 349 to 241. Blood letters are up. They are a massive threat to all those Marines. Oh hey, Plague Champion with the Plague Fist out of nowhere. Okay. I guess that's a thing. Do we see... Yep. Mark of Khorne on one of the Havocs. That gives them an autocannon. Here come the blood letters. They're a power melee squad, so they don't really want to go after the Razorback themselves. Just making sure they don't lose the power here. Now it's Raptors versus Assault Marines. Raptors low on health. Jumping out. They can reinforce off this Razorback, by the way. There's Pestilent Strike. Just to give some ranged damage reduction. 90% of it. But they moved out of the cloud anyway. Need some support. Here comes the support. Bloodletters will be looking to get onto one of the Marine squads. They're going for the Assault Squad, I think. Oh, they know they're going for the Tax. Not all of them could get into melee there. That was an awkward positioning for those Tactical Marines. That actually helped them out a bit. The Scouts were kind of surrounding them, and the Bloodletters couldn't close in. They still dropped 2 models, though. Or 1 model, I think. 1 model. I don't think they had their Sergeant. Can these guys turn around in time to get some shots? Probably not. No. Couldn't get a burst in the rear armor of that Razorback. Bloodletters will try to keep the pressure up so the Heretics can cap here. Triple for Crewfinity. These guys drop a model and then they... Enough of this. They warp shift out of existence so they don't take any more damage. Got the decap at least. Keeps the Razorback away. Dreadnought on the way now for funnyman2u. Will come out with an autocannon that can damage that Razorback. I don't think we'll see them go for Mark of Tzeentch. But you never know. Raptors down to 2 models, trying to get back out there and cap. Level 2 Techmarine, some repairs. But a Razorback, lots of repairs. Bloodletter's grabbed that central VP. There's a 1-to-1 cap, is it? Yep. Might be a triple, though. If the Raptors can finish that cap, but here comes that Techmarine. It's a bad fight for those Raptors in that state. And they run. Got the decap, though. So they'll get a double. There is the double funnyman2u. Here's the Dreadnought. Autocannon off the Havoc's getting a burst in. And there's the autocannon off the Dreadnought getting a little bit of action. Got a close combat claw as well, so we might see it just put on melee stance to run down that Razorback, because it can fire the autocannon while it's moving as well. Tier 3 for Crewfinity. Might just be looking for a tank. But they could get Terminators as well. Not sure if they should. Raptors and Bloodletters getting on those Terminators would be really bad for them. But we'll see. Assault Squad have a melter bomb. These guys have a missile launcher now. All of a sudden, a bunch of anti-vehicle stuff in Crewfinity's army. Decent merciless strike. Missile launcher does get 1 hit in, but they can't get any more. Oh, here comes the Techmarine. What is he up to? Gets a powerful sweep off. I'm not sure why they ran up to the Dreadnought and smacked it. Could have maybe got a model off the Heretics or something in that time. Just to stop it firing, maybe? Oh, Bloodletter's going for the kill. Use the teleport to try and get the Techmarine down. On the northeast, Plague Champion having some issues. Going for Icon of Nurgle and has Armor of Pestilence up. Dreadnought looking for a flank. Does put it quite close to Crewfinity's operation over there. You can't rear armor hit a Dreadnought, but if they're getting a melter bomb and a few missile hits in, it's going to start being in big trouble. I mean, they have a bunch of stuff to tie up the missile launcher, that's for sure. That's an excellent merciless strike that we just saw there. Hit both of those squads fully, I think. Oh, 3. There's 3 squads in there. Heretics are there too. Raptors, what are they doing? Just had a little rest after they jumped. Bloodletters getting messed up. Need to be very careful. There's the run. Bloodletters are fleeing. Could the assault squad finish them off? If Crewfinity's paying attention, they could have finished off those Bloodletters, I think, with a jump. Maybe. Scouts were whacked, by the way. No, they didn't jump. They could have got those Bloodletters, I think. Razorback survived. Assault squad jump on the Raptors. Dreadnought is not going to help. And I don't think those Raptors can deal with them. They don't have the hit points. Oh, there's Touch of Nurgle. Big boom. The Touch of Nurgle explosion does scale off the health of the units, but it seems like it wasn't enough to keep these guys in play. That's a lot of red used on that. It didn't really work out. Razorback back to the mid. Dreadnought says hello, and so does this autocannon. Razorback pops smoke. You can see the damage taken dramatically reduced thanks to that smoke. Techmarine comes in to repair, and here come Terminators. Oh, maybe a Venerable. Is this a Venerable? It is. Venerable Dreadnought coming in for Crewfinity. Awesome stuff. Unique unit to the Techmarine. Just a really tough Dreadnought, basically, with extra damage, and it can charge. I believe it has a better inspiration than a standard Dreadnought as well on kill. There's the Melter. Dreadnought survives it. Heretics getting rid of the Assault Squad. 265 to 101. Was that a direct hit on that missile launcher? Looked like it. Venerable will tear through Bloodletters all day long. Seems so excited to kill them. Plague Champion, we've barely seen the Plague Champion in the actual big fights. He's just on his own, capping stuff. And he's done some good work with it. Just surprised that funnyman2u invested this much in the Plague Champion. He's barely seen any combat. I mean, not even level 2. Still level 1, this guy. Trying to smack this power down. I mean, would all those resources have been better spent going tier 3? or getting another tier 2 unit up. Well, we are going to see Mark of Zinch. I don't know if that's a great idea. It might be. So we'll get a couple of good volleys on a Dreadnought, then the Dreadnought will close in for melee, and then it's done for. All the while, maybe taking missile shots. Are these guys becoming Vanguard? They are. I think that's a mistake, because they're going to lose their Melter Bomb. Going to make them more effective at melee fighting, but I think you want that Melter Bomb up until that Dreadnought's gone. Didn't get fully repaired either. You could Nurgle worship it while the fight's going on as well. Bloodletters go for the attacks. Razorback says hello. Here comes the Dreadnought as well. They don't want to mess with that thing again. Oh, they didn't all teleport in. This guy got left behind. Poor Bloodletter. These guys should be worshipping Nurgle right now. Or repairing the Dreadnought or something. 263 to 73. 1-to-1 cap. But attacks are on the southwest. Raptors. Oh, looks like they just had a big fight with the Techmarine and I missed it. Now they're trying to bash power. Try to drag some of Crewfinity's stuff away from the mid. It works. Vanguard jumped them. First Company Marines. You can only have one of them in your army at a time. Vanguard veterans. Same thing with Stern Guard veterans. But you can have one of each. It's not one of either. Does Crewfinity know that there's a Mark of Zinch Dreadnought? I'm not sure if they've seen it yet. And you can just jump Vanguard on it and tie it up, I suppose. Until the Dreadnought closes in. Especially if they get their Power Fist. Because those fellas can get a Power Fist. Techmarine almost level 3. There's a frenzied barrage. That will suppress those infantry. And there's some Nurgle worship. Vanguard veterans jump the Havocs. Heretics need to break worship here and fight. There we go. Havocs need to get away. Did they get away? Oh, they're trying to. Raptors are there. Heretics getting messed up. Bloodletters are on the Techmarine. Heretics, I think, are going to be alright unless those guys jump again. They did not jump again. Bit of a messy fight, both players doing what they could. And now a little push from Crewfinity. Again, the Plague Champion is nowhere to be seen in these big fights. Missile hits. Raptors versus Vanguard veterans, a bad fight for the Raptors now. Because all those guys have power weapons. And they have a big chunk of hit points as well. 2,000 at level 1. And there's a Merciless Strike. Nasty. I think it's the exact same Merciless Strike. I don't think the Merciless Strike gets better. Maybe it should. If it does melee damage, maybe it should do power melee damage when they're Vanguard veterans or something. Down goes the Plague Champion. 255 to 54. I think, oh, tax wipe. I'm not sure what they were up to, trying to get hits on the Dreadnought, I guess. And what was that? That was a Havoc autocannon guy. Losses on both sides. Crewfinity has enormous amounts of resources. I'm not sure what they're waiting for. They need like 100 red for Terminators. They could get a Land Raider. Oh, they are getting a Land Raider. Look at that. How often do you see a Redeemer in a 1v1? Are the Heretics dead? No, they're alive. They're worshipping Nurgle here. Dreadnought needs to get closer to benefit from it. Another Dreadnought on the way for Funnyman. Are they going to get Mark of Khorne to fight the Venerable toe-to-toe? Maybe creating some space for this guy to do damage. There is, unfortunately, no Nurgle Dreadnought, which would be super fun. There's a big, weird Dreadnought Biled Spear on it with some health regen or something. I'm not sure how often it would be used. Doesn't seem like a great purchase, really. Like a super expensive anti-infantry Dreadnought. I guess it could work. By super expensive, I mean having to get the mark on it. I guess the assault cannon dreadnought gets a lot of use, but that's because it's long range. So they know where the Mark of Zinch dreadnought is. It's now getting repairs. These guys are in a big blob, which is weird. It is going to be a Mark of Khorne Chaos Dreadnought. Those guys saw it though, and these guys are coming to fight. Land Raider Redeemer hitting the field now. There's the Mark of Khorne. Turns it into a close combat dreadnought. Needs to pop the Blood Rage. There it is. Increasing damage, speed, and damage resistance, but you lose control of the dreadnought, and you need to back it up a bit. Here we go. Here's the backup. You need to choose your targets very carefully here. Very carefully. Raptors use the Demonic Strength and leave. Where's the Mark of Zinch guy? Mark of Zinch guy's here. Gonna try and get shots on the Venerable. This is not looking great for Funnyman though. That dread, I don't know why they isolated that dreadnought to give it the mark. It's gonna go down. Down it goes. The Venerable seemed to barely even take damage. It's a big boy. The Land Raider was helping with the multi-melter, but this looks really bad now for Funnyman. I don't know why they isolated the dreadnought like that, as I said. Could have kept it near their army down here. I think maybe they just used the autocannon to get rid of the scouts first, maybe. GG, they say. And there it is. funnyman2u conceding at the end. It was a fun game. Had a level 5 Techmarine. Played champion. Did get level 2. Didn't see much of this guy in combat though. Was maybe over-invested in perhaps. Did the Venerable level up? Got level 2. Did have the Dark Age of Technology. 25 hit points at level 2. What a badass dreadnought. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.